Welcome to you all. What we've got now is the pictures from the DigiFest Hackathon. We've had 7 teams who were invited here to work on some project ideas, develop them a bit further. These were the themes that we asked them to look at. They've looked at all sorts of things. I don't know exactly what some of them have been doing, but they've been working away from about 9 o'clock yesterday morning through to now. In fact, some of them I think are still working on it now. We'll be jetting in as it's time to actually get started. We have another hackathon coming up at the Cannes conference, which is at Milton Keynes at the Open University, 29th, 30th of May. I'd like to extend the invitation to all the teams who are here if they want to come along to that one. We're putting some registration details up again soon. Come along, bring your idea you've been working on these 2 days, develop it further, or bring a new idea. So a bit more detail on that. It's going to be up on the website soon and registration for it, but do contact me. We've also got a team just coming in now who were the winners of our last Edtech challenge competition around VLEs with no screens. So they're going to be talking a bit about what they've done. They've developed the idea a bit further. And we've got another competition that we're going to launch in May, June time. Still finalizing the exact themes of it, but the Student of the Future has come up as a very strong thing. Now, we want to look at something around maybe how to defeat essay mills, student ideas on that. It's going to be a student ideas competition. So look out for that. Okay, so we got 7 teams that are going to be presenting, hopefully. Each team's going to have between 3 to 5 minutes to share what they have been doing. So quite a lot of this is going to be demos, probably bits of code, I don't know, all sorts of things. So they're not flashy presentations we're looking for here. We're looking for what they've done, what the outcome, what it looks like, and what they've learned over the last sort of day and a half. We'll then have a few minutes for questions, about 3 minutes for questions, and then rotate. We have got some prizes to give. So I've got 3 panel members. Michael, Matt, we're missing one. Are you taking over from Pete? Are you, Tom? Or are you joining the panel? And Tom? They're going to be my judges. They're going to select a winner from the 7 presentations. And I think Pete's, is that you, Pete, coming in? Yeah. And Peter Cliff, who's been running the hackathon, just coming down the stairs now. Okay, enough from me. Can I ask the first team, James? So it's a team of apprentices from Jisc, who we forced to come along here and work hard. And they're going to show you what they've been doing. Okay.
So, hi everyone. My name's James, and like Paul said, I'm an apprentice developer at Jisc. This is actually my first hackathon that I've ever taken part in, and I know Mike and Trey's first hackathon as well. So it's a bit of a big learning curve. Our idea basically was to, with group projects, a way of tracking how much work someone's actually done in a group project and how much. Basically that was the basis of the idea. We came in without really doing any planning, which was a bit silly of us. So we kind of were learning on the spot. So this is what we've come up with. It's a web app built in React. UI's a bit dodgy, but yeah, we'll go with it. So students would upload their work. So if I just upload file. Here you'd put the percentage of work that you think that you'd actually contributed to the group project. So just for an example, I'm going to put, 33%. And then you'd put some evidence of the file of the work that you've done. So I'll just upload that. And then if you want to add a little message, you add a little message. So that piece of work would be inputted and uploaded. We don't actually have any back end to this because Trey, I don't know if you may have overheard him, he got a bit stuck. So yeah, once that's uploaded, Mike, who's a mobile developer, also created a little mobile app that you can then review your teammates' work. So he's going to demo that now.
It did just crash, so we're waiting for it to reload up, which is always a good sign. Voila. So, essentially, it would be a login page, but we skipped that to save time. So, anyone in the team will be able to see anyone else's in the team's uploads, so they can see their files. So, if we go on to James's one, and we press it, the UI is horrendous, but, so, is it going to load? Is it going to do it? Might have no internet. Well, essentially, the top bit contains a PDF viewer, which hasn't loaded, which is wonderful. So you can go through and read through what they've done, and then anyone else in the team can choose how much towards the final product this person has participated and contributed to. So they just simple scroll bar for that, and then they can add a few comments at the bottom that they can kind of justify to their tutor why they think they've contributed that amount, or maybe haven't contributed enough. So and then it just logs it. That will be, it's private per student, but the tutor can see everyone in the whole team's comments for each user and what they scored. This is so that people don't feel attacked if someone puts them lower. So yeah, I think that's the general gist. So yeah, bro.
Open to any questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Was this born out of any, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hi, thank you. I think it looks great. Is it born out of any previous issues that you've had at university working in group projects?
Me personally, no. But I know speaking to a few of the people from Hull University, I know that they struggled with similar problems. Also, obviously working in a team over the hackathon, it would have kind of been good to have a working version that we could input how much we think each other's contributed to the project. But yeah, it would have, yeah.
So two questions. You talked about not having a back end.
Yeah.
So what would you have used as your back end if you had had time?
I think that question's over to Trey because he was working on that. We did try to do it in Node, but yeah, I think we kind of struggled a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The other thing is, how do you resolve? I maybe missed something in the presentation, but how do you resolve conflicts between someone who says they did 80% of the work and the other people in the group who said they only did 5% of the work? And how do you resolve percentages going over 100% and that kind of thing?
So the first part of that question, I think that would probably be the task of the tutor. So it's kind of a red flag if obviously someone says that they've only put 5% in. That can show the tutor and they'd have to intervene.
Otherwise, it would probably be averaged out, so that, like, you don't get over 100%, it would be averaged by all other members of the team. So try and get a more well-rounded view on one person's contribution.
It's a fantastic idea. Is there something that the students could do more than just one percentage to say I contributed a certain amount mark out of 5, for example, for a certain criteria, and then they would have 4 criteria rather than just one, but overall, would that be possible to build into this?
Definitely be possible, yeah. Something that we'll have a look at. Like I said, we kind of came up with the idea on the spot, so there's definitely room for development and to
because we have an algorithm that we would use to check that for unfair
really?
marking. So, yeah, okay.
So obviously, once an individual uploads their work, they will put their percentage of how much they think that they've done. So I kind of see what you're saying with the overlap. Something we definitely have to look into, yeah. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much
Any
indeed.
questions?
Thank you.
Cheers.
Our next team is led by Nathaniel, who's from University of Hull. One of two teams we've got from University of Hull today, who I'm sure you're not competitive as teams, are you?
That's not showing percentage notes. This is great, isn't it? Sorry, it's the joys of presenter notes here. It didn't connect the way it did when we tried to set it up before. Just 2 seconds.
It's the dangers of live demos.
Yeah.
Those of us who've done these many times in institutions always know it always goes wrong.
And now I've lost my mouse.
Is that true?
How do you mention that one? There we go. With a bit of luck. Right. That's not great.
You there?
Typical this, isn't it? You know, for some reason it's flickering. Have you got your laptop?
Not on the cable.
Have you got a USB-C adapter for your laptop? Could we borrow it?
Do you want to do a quick introduction to the team?
Yeah, we're the whole CSS from Hull University. This is the President Harry. I can't remember what you do. I was the treasurer, and this is one of our members. We all study computer science in a variety of different years at the university.
Okay, I think we're sorted. So my name's Harry, computer science, as Dan mentioned. We're all from the University of Hull. And essentially, what we set out to build on this event was a stand-in replacement for student identity cards. So we've all seen them, little piece of plastic that gets issued. Obviously, recently students are becoming increasingly concerned about single-use plastic and the amount of waste. Our university has 16,000 students in it, and that's quite a lot of plastic to just throw away at the end of your 3-year degree. We're also looking to bring all of the student university services that we've got and just pull them all into a single app. Improve onboarding for new students. So when they come in, there's not 10 steps to fill out in order to actually get learning, get all of the tools available to you, and provide some extra data for the university who might want to have a look at how students are learning, see what they're purchasing, see where they're going, all sorts of stuff. So this is the app that our university currently uses. As you can see, it's embedded web views. It's not very good. It's not well laid out. It's served us quite well for 7 years, but it's about time for a new one. So this is what we came up with. Essentially, it's a single sign-on platform. So you log in, use Face ID. It's nice and quick, and you can get straight through to what you're trying to do. We onboard you through the process. We let you connect your Wi-Fi, connect to Edurome, set up your email, all at the tap of a button. There's no lengthy process. There's no filling out forms, going to IT, getting help to set it up. Press a button, do it for you. We also are very granular about our permissions, so students are becoming increasingly concerned about tracking, and we're completely fine if they don't want that to happen, they don't want to share their location, not happy with NFC or whatever that tends to be. So this is our homepage. All of the information that a student might need, immediately available at a glance. They've got alerts for timetable notifications, timetables, next buses, all sorts of stuff. Everything they could need on a day-to-day basis, just right there. Campus services, a little bit less interesting, but all of the essential stuff that they want to be able to use, all the things they might want to be able to see, we don't hide it away, we don't make it difficult to use, just right there for them. And back to the identity thing that we were talking about. So this pairs with the Apple Wallet so that you can turn your card, you can put it in the wallet, use the NFC, open doors, go to the library, print things, everything that you need to do with that little piece of plastic. Let's just replace it. Let's just move to the 21st century, stick it on your phone, give it a tap, problem solved. You can top up these cards, top up these print credits, use Apple Pay, a couple of taps in your face, all sorted. When you attend a lecture, walk into the lecture theatre, we can see you've got that on your timetable, we'll give you a notification, we'll tell you, oh, well, you've walked into the lecture theatre, we know you're supposed to be here, we've got your GPS location, and we can see that EduRoam is available. We're pretty sure you're actually attending your lecture. But at the same time, when you leave the lecture, we know that you went out of range of the GPS beacon. Well, where did you go? We don't want to identify that individual data to the university, but it's interesting to know 7% of students leave after 15 minutes of their lecture. Why is that? How can we fix that? How can we get around it? And so there's a number of services there. And the help page. So at the moment, students are hammering our student services department, often with the same set of questions. So FAQs available immediately to them wherever they need it. Integrate with our existing platforms, they can check their tickets and reply, and have emergency services available at a single tap. So they hit that launch emergency tap button, security alerted, GPS locations immediately available, and they can go and help out. So everything that we showed you is a real app, it is a demo, but we had no real way to get that onto here. So if you want to come and have a go with it, come and talk to us, we'd be happy to show you it all. Other than that, thanks to Jisc for having us, thanks for listening, and any questions?
Thank you. Okay, questions?
So that is very, very impressive.
Thank you.
Be honest, how much of this was pre-built?
So
You haven't built this in a day and a half, I presume.
we did, so we actually hadn't built any of this at the start.
Really? Wow.
I have a fantastic team with me here who, between designers and back-end services team, we pulled together and worked quite hard, but we got this much going. There are things in here that are maybe less functional than I would like, but we've got time now after this event to go and turn it into a little bit more.
Well done, that is awesome.
Hiya. Yeah, it looks incredible. Well done. It's an amazing achievement for 2 days. What's your tech stack?
Okay, so all of this is native Swift, so this is specifically iOS for now. All of the back end is C#, MVC in .NET Core, so it's cross-platform. We integrate with as much of existing university services and things that we can, and again, all of that's done in our C# backend, hosted on AWS.
Look forward to the Android version.
Just give me a sense, how much of this is Hull specific in terms of the sort of APIs you've had to use and that kind of thing? How much, given your understanding of sort of university space, how much would work on a different campus?
Yep, so as much of it as possible we've tried to make generic, so things like our calendar feed is just generic iCal, our single sign-on system uses OAuth, so it can quite easily be swapped out with other universities. Transport APIs are again just very generic. I need this location's bus data. So theoretically, with a little bit more tweaking, it should be generic enough to port to any university.
I think this is a very amazing app, and I think our university could really use this. But are you planning to replace student cards for this, with this app? Because what happens if a student doesn't have a smartphone like this? With this, is there a solution for this?
Yeah, so there's sort of two ways that we approach solving this. One is some students do not have smartphones or are not willing to engage with a platform like this. So anywhere that our NFC is supported, a traditional physical card would be. So a student can choose to opt out of this service and still get the plastic card. On the other side, with iPhone 8 and above, When you run out of charge, your phone goes into what's called power reserve mode, and as long as it's in that mode, you've got 5 hours in which you can still use your student pass on the doors before it completely decides that you can't. So you can run your phone completely out of battery, you've got 5 hours then to get home and charge it.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much indeed. Another round of applause, I think. Mary, you're on next.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone from any of the other big app development companies in the audience? Manage. Cable's on the wrong side, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Good afternoon. We are 12 partners. We are part of a bigger group, as you can see in the screen. We are from the University of Glasgow, and the title of our project is combining a memory palace method with augmented reality AR for student learning. During our presentation, we will describe to you what the method of the palace memory method is, and also how this can be combined with AR. We also mentioned as well the issues that we have discussed during these 2 last days in the hackathon. We will also show you how the app will look like, and finally we will mention the future of this project.
So memory is indeed a very interesting thing, and people have found a way to make memorization much more efficient with a method called loci, or memory palace. Essentially, this method utilizes locations to associate specific information. If you haven't heard of this method, many professionals have used it to memorize all sorts of things, for example, in order of a deck of cards within just seconds. This loci method is very versatile and can be used in all subject areas. What's even better is that with using AR, the user can skip the step of having to imagine a room, but to use a room that is familiar to themselves. We believe that students can benefit from this method and make learning much more interesting and to enhance their memory and their understanding of the context.
So during the hackathon, we are not really techie people. We're from the School of Life Sciences, so we don't really have any knowledge about how to program things. So we just discussed with people that knew how to do it, and we tried to come up with solutions to problems and design what the app would look like. So we thought about the access, how the students could find it simple and intuitive to use the app, because that's what we want to do, to help students learn in the best way possible. We also thought about how to create the rooms, because they need rooms in order for the app to function. And to do so, we would have some system of nodes that they would place around the room they want to associate with the method of loci, and just associate images, words, anything they want to remember or understand. They could just place it around the room. They could just revisit rooms whenever they want and just follow some kind of path that would take the appearance of some kind of wide thread or something like that, so they don't have to remember the path, but just follow it and just go back to what they've created. They could also share rooms with others, because that's the fundamental part of this idea, is that students can help each other by creating rooms for other students that are struggling with some kind of part of their coursework. We would have different modes. There would be a creation mode, so they could create their rooms. They would have the usage mode, which would allow them to simply go through the rooms they've created and maybe edit them if they think they would understand it better, placing nodes a different way. And there would be a test mode that would allow them to just go back to the path they've created, and some nodes would be blank, and they would just have to try to fill in the gaps to see if they've understood and remembered the coursework. And we've made a quick video here that shows what the app would look like. That would be some kind of, here we've associated atoms with their electronegativity going from low to high, and we've associated them to a door, some part of the wall, a radiator, and just a window. We've got also a few screenshots of what it would look like at the bottom. So the big part, as I said, is sharing, and so students could share rooms to other students, and staff could also create rooms for students. So instead of having labs, the lecturers would just create a room at the university and just have students walk through it to try to make the coursework a bit more interactive and help them remember and understand what the lecturers are trying to teach. And there could also be a feedback system where lecturers can go back through rooms that the students have created in order to see if the students are struggling with anything or if they've understood the subject well. And so, as I said, we didn't really have any understanding of anything we could use to code that, but we found out that AR Core and AR Kit could be good areas to investigate in order to build the app we want to make.
We know that technically the development of this project is possible. We have a storyboard. We know the functionality that we want to include. Now, for the creation of this app, we have to look for funding and also finding the correct people. We were thinking that this can be integrated with student honors projects or also master projects. And also the testing of the app can be done by the TEL partners. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's amazing to see from what was really just an idea a few weeks ago to start to put some flesh on it. That's really good. Questions? We don't mind, Andy.
Does the memory technique work for people of all ages? And assuming that it does, did you put any thought into whether you would design the app in different ways targeted at different age groups?
Basically, this memory method, have you heard of this method before, Memory Palace? I would say it's very suitable to all kinds of people from all age. I've tested myself, and I'm still very impressed by this method. I'm still surprised how I could memorize it. I think there are a lot of associations that put children's using this method to memorize their content, so I think it's very suitable for all kinds of people.
Did you put any thought into whether you would design the app any differently, I don't know, for primary age school kids versus university students versus retired people, I don't know?
We've not really put any thought into it yet, but we only have some drafts for the interface that's probably going to change even for students at university, so it could change for people of all ages.
Okay, cool.
We'll think about that.
I think another element, maybe different subject areas might need a different sort of construct as well. I think very science people think in one way. People in arts, humanities might in another. Sort of environment you might want to have as your memory palace might be different. I don't know. I'm no expert on it.
It could also be customizable, so the user could have the choice to change the UI the way they want.
Okay. Michael?
So does the actual room make a difference to how the memory works?
We hypothesize that our own room, where we are familiar with the things that they are located, would be more beneficial in recalling the memory, basically.
But we still hope that laboratories at the University of Glasgow, even used with this technology, would still help, even if it's not the most familiar place for the students.
Okay. Thank you very much again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oliver? We've got our second team from the University of Hull. so tricky to get in from that side. Got it. Good.
So,
ready?
like mentioned earlier, we're the other team from the University of Hull, and completely by chance we'd ended up doing not a similar idea, but like parts of our idea and parts of their idea are quite similar to each other, just from absolutely by chance. So like they were removing completely with the student card, we've just done the signing into like a lecture room or seminar or something like that, and just getting it automatically done through a phone, and then creating a tool so that a lecturer or like someone running a seminar can then interact with the apps that are built on the apps that are on people's devices. So if we load the app on and then sign into the account, we get given so we log into the screen. There's a home screen, which at the moment is just the name of the account, and then that's supposed to be the email, but at the moment it's just like the type of account that they are. So we use iBeacons, the Apple standard ones, and then when you get within range of it, you get a notification created. So it's saying that we're at the test demo like event. So we click on the notification and it brings us to the check-in screen. And if you can see on the screen here, which would be what would be displayed by the lecturer, there is a code at the top. So it's like two-factor authentication, so you can't stand outside of a lecture room and then just attend for your lecture and then walk away. You'd actually have to physically be in the room. So if we check into the app here, and then we go back in, we can see now on the dashboard for the lecturer, the accounts, there's a list of all the accounts that are currently available there, that are currently there. There's a nice number at the top just showing what it is. And they also have the option here, so on the Android app, there's a questions section, and there is a questions tab for the lecturer. So if they ask a simple question, like, what is 2 times 2? They can send the question over, and you click on question, check for a next question, and it shows up on the app, and you can enter your response, so that would be 4, submit the answer back, and in the lecturer screen, there is the answer from the user. There is also this, like the ID is also stored with this, but we've not displayed on the screen for some reasons. And then also there's a schedule tab just to show what the next events are in the same room. So at the moment they're all the same, it's all the same lecture theatre, but we've just got a bunch of events filling it out. And then also, if for the off chance that either the beacons aren't working or for some reason it's just like the whole system's down, we have a manual check-in system. So it pulls all the events for that day, so you can see their test demo, and then we can enter the pin code for the event and check in that way instead. So even if the beacons were down or the whole system, like that side is down, we can still check into the event and it will still show us that we are registered and signed in on the screen. That's basically it.
Excellent. Thank you
Oh,
very
actually,
much.
yeah, and also this is like a drawing space for there's other things that we were going to put there, like a PowerPoint slide that would be live in the thing, but some of our lecturers use just pen and paper, so I guess it's kind of useful. But, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I'm impressed that when you checked in twice, it didn't say 2.
Oh yeah, it originally did. But
Yeah, that's really good.
thought of that.
Questions? One at the back.
Hi. I think it's a really good idea in terms of from a lecturer's point of view, but how would you get students on side with something that's kind of very surveillance-y?
I suppose it comes down to convenience. For ourselves as students, we use cards to scan into lectures. Often we might find ourselves forgetting to scan in, so having a notification or alerting us that we're present in a space where there's an event present, we can sign in. That would just remind us to check in and make sure our attendance is on track.
One more.
So I presume, it's sort of similar to the last question, I presume there are scenarios in which it's valid for someone not to turn up at a lecture because they intend to watch the video capture at some later point. So would it be possible to kind of retrospectively show attendance at that lecture by having watched the video capture? Okay, did you put any thought into that kind of thing?
I see where you're coming from. In terms of our current version, we haven't put thought into that, but of course it would be an interesting idea for the future.
Okay.
Another feature request, Andy.
Yeah. I didn't quite understand on the manual sign-in. So I didn't understand where you get that code from if the beacon is down.
Yeah, so if the beacon is down, are we able to have the projector?
Can we get back? Thanks.
Yeah, so the idea is that this application would be displayed on the projector.
Oh, I
as
see.
well.
Okay.
Yeah,
Understood.
the content would be shown with the bar on top of it.
And did you say, just in terms of the sort of cross-platformness of this, did you say the beacon is an Apple standard? But you mentioned an Android app. Did you, or is it an Apple app?
Yeah, the beacon itself is the Apple, it's just the standard that they created. There is a Google alternative, but we managed to get the Apple one working easier than the Google one. But the Android app just works with the iBeacon fine. There's just a library that can interface with it.
Okay.
And the way that we did it, we could pretty easily convert it over to an iOS project.
Right.
It's still a universal code base, so it could be changed over. But we have Android devices, so we developed for Android.
Cool. I presume the drawing bit is just so students can draw a knob on during the lecture.
Well,
We've got time for a quick question, Michael, if you got time. Quick.
So actually it's the lecturer that draws the knob, isn't it? Yeah, I was just going to ask, so do you currently have a way of attendance being collected at your lectures?
Yeah, we've got, the orange cards that the other group was showing, there are doors for each lecture theatre. There's little boxes that are just RFID readers or NFC readers. So you tap your card on it, and then we have a website that just tracks all of your attendance. So it's it'll show online whether you've been there. So the lecturer will know how many people should be showing up, and then we'll also be able to find out exactly how many people have showed up, but it's a bit clunky, and it's on some strange website.
Right, yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Why is this better than what you've got?
It's all in one place and all integrated together with each other, whereas having one website to look who's there and then have to do the presentation on a different thing is...
of course, it could be built on top of existing platforms if we thought of it in another mindset, but in this instance, we saw it as a separate platform.
That's good. Thank you very much indeed. Which side is it? Found it. No. You don't have one. What is this going to? No, we don't have no HDMI on that. Do you just got slides?
Yes, I can. I have it on the USB.
Yeah?
Yes.
Do we want the other? Do you want to get the other one up? And do you want to come do yours? And then if you transfer them onto Pete, can you give a hand to pop onto my laptop? And then we'll do that. You okay?
Let's see if we've got one. I think we do.
Cool. You press present, it'll then come.
Oh, okay. Right, so hello everyone. I am Surbi and he's Martaz, and we are here from Coventry University, and we are here to present the idea of chatbots and how they can be used by universities to present and market themselves, and how they can be used by current and prospective students to get their answers quickly and in a more efficient manner without downloading any new app or anything installing further. So let's get started. The contents that we're trying to cover today is basically introduction, the current scenario of how we search and look for courses from a student's perspective, and then how it will happen in case of a chatbot, and then we'll have a little chatbot demo, and then any questions, answers. So this is that one question that most of you probably ask in the morning, and it is that, hey Siri, what's the weather like today? So I think most of us do that question, and the thing is, why don't we do it the other way that we used to do it before we had the voice agent like Siri or Alexa? Why don't you pick up your phones, go onto the browser, type in weather of Coventry, and then you wait for the result? You don't do it because it takes time, and obviously asking Siri is more convenient. So this is what a chatbot is basically. It's a chattering robot which can interact with users in a more human-like manner. And we all have examples all around us, like Siri, Alexa, or Google Assistant. So now I will introduce you to our aspiring student, the Minion, and he's in his final year of bachelor's degree and would be looking into postgraduate courses. So what would he do in the current scenario? He would go onto the website, and then he would start browsing, and then he will take probably this browsing part, he will go on to postgraduate studies, September start, and so on. And as you have noticed, we've already come through 5 layers of browsing, from course to apply to course, and he still hasn't reached the right page he wanted to go for because he wanted to look for the fee of the course. So what we propose is using a chatbot instead. The ones that we've developed today and yesterday is using Dialogflow NLP, which is presented by Google, API.ai. So he meets Agni and she tells him, what if you don't have to install any new app, or you don't have to download anything, and you can just skip surfing for hours, and then you just look for what you want without the fear of forgetting it. So, and she shows the Minion how to use the chatbot. So basically we've taken screenshots of how it works. So if you go say hello to the chatbot, it comes up with a friendly manner or more formal manner, however way we want it to be. And then it gives you quick replies, closes the facilities in case you don't want to type really. And then if you start talking to chatbot, and this is on Facebook Messenger, like we use every day, like it's like you talk to your friend, and then you choose the course you want to go to. It tells you different schools that we have currently, and then you can choose the school you want to. Here I chose CEM, and then if you want to apply or you want to look for more courses, check about the faculty, you can do that too. And it shows you the main things that you're looking for right in the chat. For example, the fee, the starting date, or the study options offered, or the code for the course as well. And not just the course, you can ask it various other questions. And if it doesn't know, like for example, if I say apply, it will direct you to that very page, so without any browsing. And other features, like if you're coming to my university on an open day, you just say get me here or getting here, and then it gives you the picture of the uni, how it looks like, or the building, and it gives you directions. You click on get directions and it takes you straight to Google Maps with pre-filled directions from your current location. And plus, it also handles profanity and stupid questions. So if I ask it, who is the boss, it's going to say my name and be like, Surbi is the queen. Or you can just ask it different questions and it will handle that. You can train it to do that. And then next morning, if Daddy Minion asks you, okay, so what did you serve yesterday? Which courses did you shortlist? If you had browsed that now, you would have forgotten what you browsed through, or you would have to take a pen and a paper and note it down. Whereas in our case, you can just scroll through the chat and be like, look, these are the courses I looked for, and these are the points that I saw there, like straight on it. And then it has a lot of scope, so we can put timetable there. Basically, what a Moodle app would cover or any other app would cover, you can simply ask to the chatbot or say like, when is the Freshers Week starting, or when is this happening, and the bot gives you an answer.
So before I actually show you a demo, I would like to share my screen and show you how we did it on Facebook. I'm not able to. Why is it not showing? So basically, I had a chat with it on Facebook, and I asked it like, okay, it looks like if I'm not presenting, it doesn't show. Anyway, so I asked it like, okay, by the way, when is my coursework deadline? Or are there any changes to the timetable? And the bot goes, for now, obviously, it's hard-coded, but you can train it. And then the bot goes, which module are you talking about? And I say, the Mark's module, my teacher's name. And then the bot picks it up, oh, Agile Development is something taught by Mark, and then this is your phase test coming next Friday, and there's a timetable change for the next week. And then you say, again, you can just ask it as many questions as you want. I would like to hand over to my friend Martas to give you a voice demo of the same chatbot that you can use via text or voice using Google Assistant.
You've got about a minute left.
Sorry?
You've got about a minute left. Is that okay for the demo?
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be quick. Okay, did that work?
You can just do it.
Yeah. Hello?
Sure. That's hello in French. How can I help?
Okay, so thanks to Serbi, we're going to make a quick demo of how we integrated the chatbot into Google Assistant. So I'm going to just talk to University Bot.
Sure. Here's the test version of University Bot.
Greetings. I am here to help you with your queries related to EEC faculty. People call me CUBot.
Okay, so let's say we were looking for free desktops in the library. And yeah, I just want to go to the library and I'm looking for a free one. I'm looking for free desktops in the library.
Okay, let me check for you. There are 174 desktops available to be used in the library. Which floor are you particularly looking for?
So you have options that pop in below, and you can pick one of them.
Sorry, I didn't get that. Say that again.
Sorry. First floor.
I found a few places.
Dr. University Bot. Just
All right, let's get the test version of University Bot.
Free desktops.
Okay, let me check for you. There are 174 desktops available to be used in the library. Which floor are you particularly looking for?
So if I pick first floor.
This floor seems a bit busy today. We currently have 12 free desktops in the quiet zone. Would you like to check some other floor instead?
So another feature we've added is, let's say you want to book a room in a certain building and you need software access, like specific software that you're looking for. So you can also ask her, I'm looking to book a room.
Sure, one moment. Any specific requirements?
I want Visual Studio access.
Let me see if there are any available rooms in the EEC building. Here are the rooms available in the EEC building.
And since the rooms are only, the software is only available in the EC building, it shows the rooms automatically that are in the EC building.
And they're presented in the form of cars.
Yeah, it should show here, but all right, that's all.
Okay.
Any questions?
Excellent, thank you.
All right.
Any questions?
Questions? Andy's going to be, did you build all that today?
Hello. Thank you, that was really interesting. Just explain where the data is coming from. Are you querying an API or is it?
So currently it's handling real-time data. So when you input into the Facebook Messenger bot, like, I don't know, where's my timetable? And then you have the data that's been used to train in Dialogflow side. So you can train it the way you want to, really. And the API that we're calling right now is the Send API by Facebook handover. You can use that to point it to Facebook, basically. But the data that's being input can either be pulled from the university website of timetables, say, or you can put it and train it yourself. using Dialogflow. We've used Dialogflow today. Yeah,
Okay. Well, Tom?
I was just wondering to what extent this is, and you may have just answered this in more technical terms than I can understand, is inherently connected to Facebook as a platform, thinking about what's going on more broadly in terms of trust issues around their aggregation of data.
One very good thing about Dialogflow is that it's very flexible. At the same time, you can connect it to Facebook, you can connect it to Slack or WeChat or any other. We have Skype and other connections as well. So it's not tightly coupled, but it's calling the API like I mentioned, and it sends it through Facebook. And in terms of security and data protection, like we all know about GDPR, I told you like it's not happening, it's not storing data. Right now we didn't have any DB, it was all real-time conversation, so nothing is being stored anywhere. You ask the question, you get the answer, and that's it. Unless the Facebook stores its own thing, but for that when you register an account with Facebook, you go to the terms and conditions, which we never read, but we tick okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Go on.
You mentioned there was some information coming from whether desktops are available.
Yeah.
Is that like, do you mean desktop PCs or like actual desks?
So in, yeah.
It's actually desktop PCs. So
okay.
usually when you look, when you go into the library, you find it all full. So you want to make sure, like before you leave home, that there's actually space in the library and that there are PCs available. So we've added options, not just like for Windows desktop. You can also ask for Macs if there are any Macs available, and it can be easy to implement from the university just when you have the database ready and just forward it through.
Sure, thanks.
Okay. Go on. One quick question. Have to be the last one.
You know, with your room data and stuff, would you look to work with like your internal IT department to get what software is installed, and then do you have like a database of that already, or would you just work to get sort of the software to work out what's available in each room with them?
So, for example, like currently, if you want to check desktops, for example, we have a link. We go there and we check it, and they show us how many are there. So, what in our case we'd have to do is we just have to call their API, and they will send us a response, and we can show it to, and we can push it to Facebook. That's what it will come in the business logic of our fulfillment.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much again. Am I the only one then who picks up my phone and actually looks at the weather and doesn't talk to it? If you press present now, it should come up on.
Hello, my name is Lawrence Basinga, and this is a storytelling on flipping the classroom and utilizing the curriculum to help the FA and HA student to acquire French by the French-speaking society at the University of Huddersfield. We'll be using Google Classroom and Moodle to show how we digitalize the curriculum and how we help the student to acquire the French skill they needed. First of all, we added the lesson for each week to the VIA L'école Moodle so the student can have access to it.
Do you have some audio files that should be playing? Is that?
Yes, but I can't.
Oh, you need to plug in the audio cable. This one. Just click OK on that. That doesn't seem to want to play. Keep going.
Okay. So we added the lesson on the VLA called model, and usually what we do on that VLA, we add the announcement, the lesson ends out, and we add the pre-activity before the class and the video and assessment. So we've embedded the video on Moodle, and all the students were asked to watch the video and listen to people talking in the video with different accents. So for the pre-activity 2, we share a Padlet, a shared Padlet was embedded on Moodle, and the students were asked to write on it about a person of their choice, and to provide information such as the name, the age, the city where the person come from, and his profession and nationality. So the good thing about embedding the video on the VLA, in this case on Moodle, is that it has not only helped the student to find the information they needed to do the task online, it has also allowed them to watch the video on their own pace, wherever they were, and to hear the correct pronunciation of the vocabulary. Oh, this is an example of a shared Padlet that the student created after watching the video on Moodle. And now we're going to talk about the Google Classroom. So the idea for the to flip the classroom is that the first part was to use Moodle and to embed the activity on Moodle, and the second part was in the classroom to apply what the students have learned on Moodle, and to be able at the end to do a presentation and to introduce their family. So a class code was provided to each student to join the Google Classroom. And this is an example of the Google Classroom that we used yesterday with the French-speaking society. And an assignment was created on the classwork section, and the clear instruction was provided to the student. So in this case, they had to introduce their family and provide name, age, nationality, where they live, where they come from, and their profession. And we could see what the students were doing and provide an instant feedback to the student. And after that, we added a voice recognition on Moodle to help the student to work on their pronunciation and to get the correct spelling and to work on their feedback.
Need another, how much longer? Another minute?
Yeah, 1 minute.
1 more minute, okay.
Okay. And so as a result, we were able to create a zone of proximal development to help the students acquire the French language. So what I want to say here is that usually a big barrier when you're learning a language is you're self-conscious of other people. So here, the student, by using Google Classroom, they were able to get individual feedback from the teacher, and also by adding the video and embedding the work on Moodle, they were able to learn at their own space, and also by adding the voice recognition, they were able to improve their language skill and to go back to the feedback, work on it, and then do a presentation on the end. So on the end, we have a presentation by Coral. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Questions, comments? You had a particular challenge here. You've been moving from one platform to another. Yeah. Yes. And changing the actual delivery, which is quite an interesting challenge to try to address in the last day. Michael? Or?
So was this idea based on your own experience of learning languages?
Yes, because I'm a language teacher and I've done research on the past, and we realized that the barrier that the student had was they were self-conscious, and we then decided to use Google Classroom as well and to improve Moodle to see how it works on student, and we had the result yesterday as well. So,
So I have a slight confession to make, which is that I don't know what a flipped classroom is. Apologies. It probably means I should be fired on the spot coming to this conference, but anyway. My question is, could you have done the whole of this project in Google Classroom, or did you need to use both platforms?
I needed to use both platforms because on Moodle, I store the activities, I store all the lessons for the French topic. So all the students have access to their lessons. So usually the VLA that the college is using is Moodle. And Google Classroom is what I use as a tool when I flip the classroom in the classroom.
All right, understood. Right, thank you.
Got one. It's coming from the left. You're right. My left.
How much manual overhead is there for you in creating these? Could it be automated, or is it mostly, do you have to create Google Classroom, get a class ID for that, and then go and move that into Moodle as well?
Can you say it again?
Oh, for when you're creating your tasks and stuff, do you have to create it in your VLE and then create a separate class in Google Classrooms and then work across?
So I will explain usually when you flip the classroom, usually you embed the activity on a VLE so that the student can learn the activity in advance. And the second part, when you flip the classroom, is in the classroom. You give the chance to the student to apply what they've learned, and to do their homework in the classroom, and you're there to support them. That is the idea. Instead of like the traditional classroom where you do the exercise in the classroom, you do the lesson in the classroom, then you go home and you do the exercise and you struggle on your own. So we're doing the opposite here.
Okay, thank you.
It's really interesting, but obviously voice recognition can be difficult enough when you're speaking in your native language. How successful has it been in understanding people speaking in French when French isn't their native language?
How successful?
Obviously, if I'm speaking English, Google's quite good.
Mm-hmm.
If I switch to French or German, an English person speaking German pronounces it differently than a German person. So how successful is Google at interpreting people speaking French as a foreign language?
In our case, we added a voice recognition that we created yesterday to allow students to have like a voice recognition when they speak French. But the difficulty that we had was that when, for example, you add a city, like an English city, for example, it cannot translate it, so you don't have the right. So we are trying to, the next step would be to work on it, to try to get a code that will allow the two pronunciation. I mean, the French pronunciation, but an English city, for example, or so a code that we recognize, many languages.
Yeah, I've used a sat-nav in Montreal, and that was quite fascinating when it was trying to pronounce French place names. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And last but not least, you're going to help them on this one, are you? I need your laptop. Oh, that's mine. I need my laptop.
Yeah, do you want to give that one?
Do you want to take your data stick out?
Yes.
I had to close it because
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
I don't think Post-it.
It's all right then.
It's all right. It's got like 20-odd% now. This should be working.
You can't go over because we're going to run right up to the wire pier.
Which way around is usually best?
You ready?
How do we look to present? Sorry. Oh, it is. Sorry, it's right there. Don't worry, it's doing it.
I don't know if the network connected, but hopefully it did.
Fingers crossed, we'll see. Yeah. So this is our team. Our project was to attempt to create a virtual campus. I'm Rebecca Flick. It's my third day working as an associate innovation developer at Jisc, so very new to the team, so bear that in mind.
I'm Fatih Shukur from the University of Buckingham. So our talk is organized in the following way, as we hope the initiative of our work is to have an open day for prospective students who would like to join the university, for both local, might be can apply at the same time for different universities, or those who are overseas, would be much easier and low cost for them to visualize the campus, what is the lecture rooms, how it looks like, and the accommodation, other facilities the university could provide, the spots or any surrounding the local environment available. Yeah, this is basically what the initiative of the
So the reason we think this is perhaps more innovative than some of the tech that's out there at the moment, we really wanted to present something that wasn't just a 360 image or not a video tour. We wanted something that was definitely almost more like a game for the students, something that was more interactive, something that was perhaps funner to use. And we wanted it to be very student-centered in terms of focusing on perhaps if a student was felt really anxious about going to university, how could we ease that anxiety? They could take a tour, they could go and speak to have a speech from a virtual host who perhaps gave some information about the student union, possible activities that they could do, take tours of different rooms and things like that. So we definitely wanted that degree of freedom, so it's not implemented in what we've managed to do, and I'll explain some of the reasons why. But we definitely want them to be able to control where they can move within the campus as the agent, to allow them just to see the things that they want to see.
And the requirements that we hope to achieve for you, actually some of them, we just in a few seconds will show you in the demo session. And so we will have the prospective students as well as the future, the graduate student could be also our current students, and visualizing in 3D model these, the lecture halls, the library, and what other facilities that the university can provide, as well as the administrative services, that could be the finance, IT, and yeah, that's basically we hope to get.
So we, as much implementation as we've managed to do within kind of the last 12 hours, today was a little bit sketchy in terms of connection. So we've used Amazon Sumerian, and this was both of our first times using this bit of kit. I think it only came out recently. So we've used this to do a little bit of very basic scene building, a bit of modeling, putting in colliders and rigid bodies, things like that, and then created state machines to have a very bit, at the moment, like I said, you'll see in the demo, it's very basic interaction between the things that we've implemented. So putting in some videos, a very little bit of speech, and a host, which is kind of the examples that you'll see in terms of you could go up and get a tour, or you could go, like I said, speak to the student union rep or something within the game. Not game, but... So then how do we demo it on here? Will it show on there if I just do it on the internet? Yeah.
We've got time for a demo.
Oh, drag it over there.
It's
okay.
there anyway. It's there.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's it. It's that.
What, the link?
And then the link is here.
Okay, so it is on that screen already, but...
Is that displaying? Yeah, go back to the browser now.
Ah.
There you go. That's displaying successfully.
Cool.
Hi there. Welcome to the university campus.
So that's a bit of very basic speech that we've managed to implement. And then you've also got things, we would obviously like the agent to be free moving, but we had some connections issues with Sumerian today. So perhaps wouldn't use that until some of those things have been ironed out. But you've got basic videos that you can input, so you can use some of the existing materials that the universities already have, welcome videos, maybe specific facilities that are offered maybe inside the library or other environments in the university. So you could reuse all of those things that are already there, but do it in a way that's perhaps more fun and interactive for students. Okay, any questions?
Other questions? You had a room yesterday, did you lose it?
So we were trying to play around. It is a room when you zoom out. I mean,
see.
I don't know that you. So this is
the room.
basically a bit more of an idea of what we've created so far. Very basic, like I said. But today we had some really.
Yeah, and this guy can
It's
be
Disc
moved when
World.
depends
Do you-
on the
very-
we moved our camera move with us as well. So
Very quick question, just because I know we must be running out of time, I think. Do you think the amount of effort you would have to put into building a model of a campus would be prohibitive
So
in
this is
terms of
something that we
rolling
need-
this out?
It's something we need to consider a little bit more. So someone, I'm sorry, I can't remember who, but informed me today that there are actual virtual mappings of all of the campuses actually in the UK. So if some sort of technology could be built that would take that information and then automatically map that for us, then it would be great in terms of saving times and creating future resources if that program could be built based on the information that's already out there.
This is the stripped down economical university of the future.
This is what we'll be
If
able
we're going to get the
afford.
fees down for students, this is going to be it. Excellent.
It's very Scandinavian.
Okay, we're heading up to the wire. Can I just say thank you very much to yourselves.
Thank you.